Remember who you are!
Its skin just don't fit too good. Why get a wife when you can get a hologram of Hatsune Miku? I don't gotta feed that one. Hello everyone and welcome to Happybara. I'm your animal bro and internet weirdo, and today, we're going through everything alive today with bear in the name and slapping them in a tier list, cause I heard the algorithm likes those. Suck it, Tier Zoo, Dr. Happy's here to tell you which bear is the best bear. Each bear is gonna be judged based on its ranking in 3 science-backed categories. You gonna eat that? Oh no, bro. And the chonk factor. And from there, they'll be put in one of the following tiers. F tier. Not a bear. The fakes, the phonies, the frauds. We won't be spending a lot of time here because I don't reward identity theft. C tier. The bear minimum. A tier for animals that are in the family Ursidae but fail in every other way that makes them a bear. B tier. The bare necessities. It's like being the middle child, but people still remember you because you're a bear. A tier. Better have my honey. The true alphas of the bear world. And finally, S tier. Bear Ascendant. The finest of the forest, the cream of the claw, the Ursus Major. We stand in the presence of divine ursine glory, and we are found wanting. Buckle up, chuckle nuts, it's bear o'clock. The Sloth Bear. When I was a stupid child, I watched The Jungle Book. And when I saw that Rudyard Kipling had the gall to place a bear in the same habitat as an orangutan, elephants, and a Bengal tiger, I was determined to teach the then 7-decade-dead author the error of his ways. 2 decades later, I'm still a drooling moron, but I'm now aware of the Indian sloth bear, and would like to formally issue an apology to Mr. Kipling. He's still dead though. Checkmate, Rudyard. The sloth bear is a medium-sized bear that can be found in the Indian subcontinent, and is yet another example of evolution thinking that it would be hilarious to make the most derpy-looking animals the ones most likely to send you back to Jesus. The reason why sloth bears are called sloth bears is a result of European explorers doing what European explorers do best. F***ing it all up. And while they were doing that, they found a new species of mammal. They took a gander and said, "Oh my, long curved claws, missing front teeth, shaggy fur. It's like some kind of cross between a bear and a sloth." And thus in 1791, the bear sloth was born. Until they realized the bear sloth had a lot more bear than sloth going for it, and thus the sloth bear was born. So if the shaggy fur, curved claws, and missing front teeth aren't for doing sloth stuff, then why bother? Because the sloth bear's not trying to be a sloth. It's trying to be an anteater. And a Dyson vacuum cleaner. No, seriously. Over 50% of the sloth bear's diet comes from insects, with termites, ants, and bees being the favorites. Sloth bears pull up to termite mounds before using those curved claws to go full rip and tear on the thing. Once the tasty bits are exposed, the sloth bear then deploys its freaky pair of Mick Jagger lips, before giving the mound what science refers to as the big suck. The bear then proceeds to go full Kirby, sucking up the residents of the mound along with anything else edible that may be inside. While its bug-sucking preference does hurt it a bit in You Gonna Eat That, it does still supplement its diet with fruit, plant matter, and carrion, and will very rarely hunt down other animals. In fact, its scientific name means honey bear, because when you love honey as much as sloth bears do, you don't really care about dodging those Pooh Bear allegations. The honey bear name also fits, because not only is it trying to copy an anteater, but it's also trying to copy the honey badger. And just like the honey badger, the sloth bear don't give a shit. Of all bears on Earth, it's the sloth bear that's most likely to punch your ticket for simply not passing the vibe check. Sloth bears are regularly preyed upon by Bengal tigers, which should tell you just how hardcore they are. If you can think of an animal that aura-farms harder than a tiger, congrats on being wrong. When you're faced with death by kitty cat, you got 2 options: fight or flight. And you look me in the eye and tell me that that thing's gonna win a marathon against Shere Khan anytime soon. The sloth bear takes a fight or fight approach towards anything it may consider a threat, and I think that we humans can admit that we've done a bang-up job making ourselves a threat. This, combined with large human populations encroaching on bear habitats, has resulted in the sloth bear boasting the highest number of human fatalities of any bear, with some even considering them more dangerous than the tigers that made them this way. The sloth bear goes in better have my honey. What it lacks in chonk, it makes up for in sheer oh no bro. The bear cat. The binturong, aka the bear cat. Not a bear, nor a cat. It's a vivarid, a group of animals that's the result of cats and lemurs doing the fusion dance and smoking a lot of crack. Not a bear. Now, let's move on. I don't like the way this one's looking at me. The spectacled bear. Okay, so before we talk about what is, we ought to talk about what was. I would like to formally introduce you all to Arctotherium, the largest member of the subfamily Tremarctinae, and the largest bear of all time. A fully grown Arctotherium can stand up to 14 feet tall and weigh just under 2 tons. You heard that right. Up until only about 10,000 years ago, South America was ruled with an iron paw by a bear the size of Allosaurus. Today, there's only one surviving member of Tremarctinae. And let's just say that going from the largest mammalian land predator of all time to the inspiration for Paddington Bear is a rough fall off for Team Tremarctinae. The spectacled bear is a rarely seen medium-sized bear native to the cloud forests of the Andes Mountains, and is currently the only bear living in South America. And I get it, not even bears can resist the Latinas. Tranquilo, Paddington. Nos atrapan a todos tarde o temprano. Happy, that bear looks like it would score a perfect 20/20 at the optometrist. Why is it appropriating the culture of the visually impaired? Well, thank you for the layup, random viewer. The spectacled bear gets its name from the unique blonde coloration on its face, which sometimes resembles a pair of spectacles. I'ma be real, Chief, with a lot of these guys, you really gotta stretch the definition of what spectacles are for the name to make sense. But the cool thing about these markings is that they are unique to that specific bear, just like your fingerprints are unique to you. So if you're ever looking to rob a bank with a crew consisting entirely of bears, you know, like a normal person, I would highly recommend choosing literally any other bear on this list. But forgetting their tendency towards self-incrimination, this is still a solid bear to have watching your back. Even though it's only a tenth the size of Arctotherium, we're going off of bear sizing conventions. Male spectacled bears still reach 400 pounds, which should tell you just how big bears can get considering how the spectacled bear is only mid in the chonk category. The spectacled bear also ranks as certified mid in oh no bro and you gonna eat that. Tremarctinae still technically boasts the largest land predator in South America, since the spectacled bear has been recorded hunting large prey. So it absolutely could be the apex predator of the Andes Mountains, if it wanted to. Thing is, it doesn't really want to. The spectacled bear is the second most vegan of all bears. Spectacled bears are also notoriously shy, preferring to take shelter from humans high up in the treetops. While they are considered one of the least aggressive and least predatory of all bears, I cannot stress this enough, this is still a bear. Leave it alone. You do not want to be on the receiving end of what happens when Paddington here runs out of marmalade. Luckily, there's only ever been one recorded death that can be attributed to a spectacled bear, which allegedly occurred when the guy shot it while it was climbing a tree and the bear fell on him. While I can't verify that this is exactly how it went down, I do know for a fact that while that bear was hurtling towards the earth, it heard the voice of Arctotherium calling out to it.
Remember who you are!
The spectacled bear goes in bare necessities. The Red Panda. It's hard to come up with an animal who's been shafted harder than the Red Panda. The Red Panda was given the common name panda back in 1825. And for 44 years, this was the only panda. But in 1869, this other bamboo eater made its grand debut. But instead of giving the giant panda its own unique name, they just called the original panda the Red Panda, with some even going for the name Lesser Panda. Now, I don't know about you, but that would be enough motivation for me to ditch the bamboo and start eating people. Despite being the true heir to the panda name, I must once again disgrace the Red Panda by putting it in not a bear. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. But while we're on the topic of identity theft, the Giant Panda. The Giant Panda exclusively lives in China. Aw man, someone stained my map. Oh. Okay, well that's depressing. Thanks to human shenanigans, giant pandas are confined to this little piss stain that happens to be in China. In so many ways, the giant panda fails at not only being a bear, but being a functional animal. Its entire existence revolves around fixing something that's not broken. It's an herbivore in the order Carnivora. But despite having a diet that consists of 99% plant material, the giant panda is still considered a carnivore. What? Happy, how does that make any sense? It doesn't! Nothing about this morbidly obese Dalmatian makes any goddamn sense! If you saw my video on gorillas, you'll remember how I spoke about their lengthened hindgut, and how it's specially evolved to digest plant matter and synthesize protein from glucose. The giant panda, however, just kinda opted out. Because giant pandas made their switch to veganism only relatively recently, they still have a digestive system that should be getting its nutrition from other animals. So because the giant panda insists on running herbivore software on carnivore hardware, it can barely get any nutrition from plant matter. The giant panda doesn't insist on eating plants, oh no. It insists on eating one specific kind of plant: bamboo. A plant that contains hydrogen cyanide. Despite having the word giant in its name, the giant panda is actually the second smallest of all bears, reaching a maximum size of only about 350 pounds. Because if they got any bigger, they would keel over from a nutritional deficiency. Giant pandas spend 12 hours every day doing nothing but eating bamboo, and they use the remaining time for either sleeping or pooping. Sometimes at the same time. It's so bad that giant pandas avoid steep sloping terrain to reduce energy expenditure. So Poe struggling with stairs is actually lore accurate. And the reason why giant pandas are solitary creatures isn't because they're territorial or anything. It's because social encounters just require way too much energy to be worth it. This bear can be defeated by cardio and an empty social battery. I didn't expect to be called out by a panda today, but here we are. But it's not all bad. Pandas do have two unique adaptations that make them unique among all bears. Who has 2 thumbs and barely enough energy to stay alive? This guy! Pandas have evolved a pair of pseudo-thumbs made from a modified wrist bone, giving them the appearance of having 5 fingers and a thumb, making the giant panda a contender for nature's freakiest handshake. But if the giant panda can't grab something with its freaky wrist thumbs, it can still do it the old bear way. Pandas' adorably round faces are shaped by a set of colossal jaw muscles, bigger than any other bear on Earth. Thanks to that adorably round head, pandas have the strongest bite relative to body mass of any bear. Okay, now we're talking. So what does the giant panda use these super cool adaptations for? Is the giant panda secretly the bear equivalent of a saltwater crocodile with thumbs? Because that would be pretty sick. Well, according to observations in the wild, giant pandas use their thumbs and extreme bite force exclusively for gripping and chewing bamboo. Oh, god damn it! Pandas are like your high-achieving friend from high school who got addicted to ketamine after graduation. You want nothing but for them to be happy and successful, but you can't help but be baffled by their life choices. Pandas go in the bare minimum. The polar bear. So now we go from one extreme end of the bear spectrum to the other. While the panda's gone all in on veganism, the polar bear has listened to too much Joe Rogan and now lives entirely on a diet of flesh and DMT. For legal reasons, that was a joke. Nothing good is gonna come from you feeding the largest land predator psychedelics. Polar bears are native to the sea ice that surrounds the Arctic Ocean, and are on my list for breaking my chonk scale. Not only are polar bears the largest bear, but they're the largest terrestrial carnivore on Earth. Period. An adult male polar bear can weigh more than 1,700 pounds. That is 5 pandas worth of bear. Also, for the rest of the video, I'm going to be using pandas as a unit of measurement because as a red-blooded American, I refuse to learn the metric system. Living in the Arctic is rough, even if you're a living cruise missile like the polar bear. If you're gonna live here, every part of you needs to be custom built for surviving Earth's freezer section. Polar bears are more slenderly built than other kinds of bears, completing the look with a long curved nose that serves to both warm and rehydrate air as it passes through the nasal passage. Polar bears are also covered from head to snowshoe-shaped paw in a dense two-layered coat of fur. The undercoat provides insulation, but the real freaky stuff happens in the overcoat. Now this may sound insane, but polar bears are not actually white. So Happy, are you saying that whipping out the songs that excite the white folks Spotify playlist ain't gonna save me from a polar bear maulin'? Unfortunately, that is exactly what I'm saying. But what I'm also saying is that polar bear fur is made of transparent hollow tubes that reflect ultraviolet light, which is what gives the bear its iconic white camouflage. These hairs also reflect light between the undercoat and the skin. Combine this light reflecting trick with a 4-inch layer of fat and you got a pale chubby fluff ball that can stay comfy in even the most hostile of environments. To maintain that thick layer of fat, polar bears have become specialized marine mammal killers. Most of their diet consists of various species of seal, but they're not picky about where those calories come from. Polar bears regularly take on big game like walrus, and even animals you'd think would be unreachable, like narwhals and beluga whales, are fair game. Here's a nifty flowchart to figure out whether or not you specifically are on the polar bear's menu. Are you currently in the Arctic Circle? Are you an orca whale? Do you have or previously had a pulse? If you answered yes, no, and yes, then I got some bad news for you. You got bearitis. And it's terminal. Happy, you said that it was the sloth bear that killed the most people. And Leo got rocked by that one bear in The Revenant, so what makes the polar bear so special? That's a fair point. Between the years 1870 to 2014, only 20 people have been killed by polar bears. When bears attack people, it's normally because they saw the human as some kind of threat. And bears have the magical ability to turn threats into food if they hit it hard enough. But there is a key difference when it comes to polar bears. Introducing Dr. Happy's Guide to Surviving North American Bear Attacks. Black bear. Step 1. Make yourself look as big and threatening as possible. Step 2. If charged, fight back. Aim specifically for the bear's eyes and nose. Brown bear. Step 1. Back off slowly, making yourself look as small and non-threatening as possible. Step 2. If charged, lay down. Protect your head and stomach. Only get up 10 to 20 minutes after the bear is left. Polar bear. Step 1. Die. There's other steps after this one, but your involvement in this exchange kinda got minimized after step 1. Polar bears are one of the few animals on Earth that actively see humans as a food source, and their low body count can be attributed mostly to the fact that they live in one of the most human-free environments on planet Earth. But whenever they do encounter people, it's rarely pretty. But can you really blame them? There's a reason why polar bears aren't picky with their food. All the choosy ones are dead. If you were in a perpetual state of trying to maintain enough body fat not to freeze and or starve to death, and a hot pocket wearing a fashionable parka just waltzed into your living room, I don't think anyone would judge you for what you were about to do next. Despite probably not even knowing what honey is, polar bears go at the top of better have my honey. Yeah, they lose some points and you gonna eat that for going full carnivore, but come on, the bear that's most likely to be covered in blood is the color that contrasts blood stains the best? That is so metal it hurts. Hey, I appreciate you for sticking around to the halfway point. Now, if I could be real with you for a sec, Happybara is the first time I've ever felt like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Animals have been my entire life for my entire life. So if you want to help the channel grow, like and subscribe. And if you want to go the extra mile, there's a Patreon down in the description. I'll mail you a sticker.
Come get some.
No, seriously. I will put this motherfucker in an envelope and send it to you like it's 1980. Alright, back to the bears. The Koala Bear. You know you're a fraud when you have bear in your name, but the most dangerous thing about you is that you're a marsupial that can spread chlamydia. Nice try, Australia. Not a bear. The Sun Bear. Come on, guys, you really expect me to fall for this when all you did was slap a dude with an ass like Hank Hill in a bear suit and gave it a stupid name like Sun Bear? Oh, what? Are we just supposed to assume that bears follow Pokemon logic and there's a moon bear too? Not a bear. The Asian black bear. Okay, wait, hold up. My sources have confirmed that the sun bear is a real bear. Its skin just don't fit too good. The sun bear is a special little bear native to Southeast Asia and is the smallest bear on record, reaching a maximum weight of only 140 pounds. In the Malay language, sun bears are called Basindo nan Tenggil, first try, which translates to he who likes to sit up high. But despite looking like it lives on a diet consisting entirely of PCP, this is not a reference to the bear's drug use. Despite all bears having some sort of climbing ability, it's the sun bears that are the biggest tree lovers. Their small size combined with their 4-inch claws and large hairless paws make them right at home nesting and sunbathing high above the forest floor, and their diet reflects this arboreal lifestyle. Sun bears are omnivores, as God intended, with a vast majority of their diet coming from fruit and insects, with honey being their personal favorite. But the thing about both insects and honey is that they're almost exclusively kept in hard-to-reach places. But just like the equally insect and honey-obsessed sloth bear, the sun bear has evolved some cursed mouth parts. Damn, shouty, what that mouth do? That mouth licks up bugs and honey. That's what that mouth do. Despite being the smallest, sun bears sport the largest tongue of any bear. They can grow up to 10 inches long. I mean, what more could you want from a man? I mean, bear. Word of advice, but don't let your guard down around this guy just because he's small. I mean, Demetrius Johnson is only 125 pounds, and he could twist a man's head off like a bottle cap. The sun bear's territory overlaps with that of the sloth bear, which means it faces the same threat of death by Frosted Flakes mascot. And to the sun bear, getting mauled to death does not sound that great. Sun bears approach survival in the tropical forest in the same way a little guy might approach survival in prison. Beat up the biggest guy in the yard, and if that doesn't work, try and convince everyone you're insane. Which shouldn't be too hard because look at it. Sun bears can be highly aggressive and go on the attack when surprised, using their 4-inch claws and a bite that's way nastier than a bear this size should be capable of. In fact, the reason why sun bears look like little serial killers wearing skin suits is evolution's way of making whatever decided to snack on a bear that day regret their life choices. Sun bear skin is loose and baggy, especially around the neck, which is the favored spot that big cats like to grab onto. So if you ever find yourself biting a sun bear from behind, you know, like a normal person, the sun bear will be able to literally rotate inside of its skin to bite you back. Spoiler alert, but the bear's gonna win that contest. And you're about to witness natural selection at work, because you were the freak going around biting bears. Sun bears go in high bear necessities, because despite having the least amount of chunk, they can fit a lot of oh no bro into a small package. The moon bear. Well, I'll be damned. Bears follow Pokemon logic. The moon bear, or Asiatic black bear, is another medium-sized bear, with one of the widest ranges in all of Asia, stretching all the way from Iran to the islands of Japan. Although smaller than its North American cousin, about 1 1/4 pandas, it lives on a similar diet. That being pretty much anything it can get away with. Just like its cousin the sun bear, the moon bear is named for the moon-shaped markings on its chest. Whoa, wait. Hold up. The sun bear and the moon bear get names that make them sound like whimsical forest creatures, but the sloth bear is stuck with being called the sloth bear, even though it's got frosted chest hair too. Was it a rule back then that new animals were only allowed to be named after pre-existing animals, and that's how animals like the sloth bear and red panda got shafted? Cause that's some bull. Come to think of it, 3 out of 4 bear species living in Asia have some kind of chest marking. What could possibly? Tigers. It's the tigers again. I've gone from being an arrogant child that thought that there was nowhere on earth that bears and tigers live together to learning that their beef is generational. If that's not character development, then I don't know what is. Tigers are ambush predators who will always prefer a scenario where their prey doesn't know they're there until they got kitty teeth buried in their neck. That goes double when the animal being hunted is a bear. So of course, bears have a vested interest in making sure they're facing the right direction when tigers come a-knocking. But all that doesn't matter if the tiger doesn't know it's been spotted. Because even if you see it coming, well, if you get attacked by a tiger, there's no way you're having a good time. The chest markings found in Asian bears serve as a warning. One that says, hey, I am looking at you. And if you proceed, I am prepared to make this everyone's problem. Just like their two dripped-out cousins, moon bears fight first and don't even bother with asking questions. The biggest takeaway from this video should be that the most dangerous thing about tigers is what they've done to the bears. But here's where the moon bear stands out. Moon bear attacks are on the rise in places where there are no tigers. In 2025, Japan saw a record number of moon bear attacks, with over 100 injuries and 13 fatalities. And if you study bear attack statistics, like a normal person, you'll know that number is insane. But what's even more wild is the reason behind these attacks. One of the main reasons why sloth bears rank number 1 in human fatalities are large human settlements encroaching on the bear's habitat. But the reason for the moon bear attacks in Japan is because there's less people. Japan is currently facing a depopulation crisis. Because why get a wife when you can get a hologram of Hatsune Miku? I don't gotta feed that one. Because of the rapidly falling population, rural farming communities have seen a steep decline in upkeep, with some just electing to abandon the farms entirely. And when the people move out, the bears move in, driving them into conflict with those who remain, because that is a lot of free food being left around that no self-respecting omnivore could ignore. Moral of the story? Stay a virgin, feed a bear. But honestly, I can't even blame moon bears for being anti-human. Because out of all the bears, they're the ones who have been treated the worst. If you don't already know what bile farming is, well, let's just say that in 2026, there are some countries who think that the cure to alcoholism is animal torture. Moon bears go at the bottom of better have my honey, and low-key deserve an apology. The water bear. If you need me to tell you that this isn't a bear, then I feel nothing but dread at the fact that you have the right to vote. But credit where credit is due, this is the only animal I've talked about today that can survive being shot into space. Not a bear. The American black bear. Yeehaw! You know that everything's better in America when our smallest bear is still the 3rd largest on the planet. Up your bear game, everyone else. The American black bear is the most successful species of bear when measured by population, gracing God's chosen continent with over 800,000 individuals stretching all the way from Mexico to Alaska. Now, the name black bear is kinda misleading. If you learn anything about zoology, it should be that there's always a 50-50 chance that the name of an animal is just straight up bullshit. Black bears are predominantly black, but they also come in brown, cinnamon, and blonde. And in British Columbia, you can even find white bears called spirit bears. I know I was just talking smack about common naming conventions, but look at that thing and tell me that spirit bear is not the perfect name for it. Black bears score a perfect score and you gonna eat that, with 85% of their diet coming from plants and the remaining 15% coming from meat. But in areas that are densely populated by humans, it's all about that trash, baby. I'm the trash bear. I come out and I start throwing trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage. Black bears have fully embraced their Yogi Bear role, and have no qualms about separating you from your picnic basket. Unlike their Asian counterpart, which have transformed into avatars of death thanks to years of tiger trauma, the American black bear is more of a threat to your dumpster than your life. And as someone who grew up in a part of the country where the number 1 cause of car break-ins was black bears smelling food in the backseat, I can tell you they're a threat to your insurance premiums too. Now, a bear that's learned to coexist alongside people sounds really cute, but I promise you it's really, really not. There's a reason why the best way to survive a black bear attack is to just square up, because no black bear wants any of this. But if the bear that your best chance of surviving is by utilizing fear tactics all of a sudden stops being afraid of humans, that's a problem. The bear that you've been feeding dozens of times only needs to find you more appetizing than the garbage once. Despite their huge range and regular interactions with people, black bears kill an average of less than 1 person every year. But despite that, I'm putting it right in the middle of better have my honey, even though it probably doesn't deserve to be ranked higher than the moon bear. But the American black bear does have one thing going for it that the moon bear doesn't. The brown bear. Now, up until this point, you've probably been thinking, Happy, haven't you forgotten someone? And the answer is absolutely not. I think about brown bears way more than any functioning member of society should. No, I've just been saving the best for last, because the brown bear is the bear. No, seriously. The brown bear's scientific name is Ursus arctos, with Ursus being the Latin name for bear and Arctos being the Greek name for bear. This guy is literally the bear. On average, the brown bear is the second largest species of bear on Earth. Now I say on average because brown bears vary wildly in size, and we'll get to that in a minute. But what we do know for certain is that it's the brown bear that's the closest to taking over the planet. While not as successful in overall population as the black bear, the brown bear is everywhere. Found throughout Asia, Europe, and North America. Not only is its range diverse, but so is the bear itself. Think of any biome on Earth, any at all, and there's a good chance that there's a subspecies of brown bear that's evolved specifically to kick the crap out of everything else. There's the Eurasian brown bear, grizzly bear, Kamchatkan brown bear, East Siberian brown bear, Gobi brown bear, Himalayan brown bear, Ussuri brown bear, Kodiak bear, Marsican brown bear, Cantabrian brown bear, Sitka brown bear, Syrian brown bear, brown bear, brown bear, brown bear. It's all f***ing brown bears, and that wasn't even all of them. Because the brown bear is the Swiss Army knife of bears, it sweeps oh no bro chunk, and you gonna eat that in a way that no other bear comes close. Because of their insane range, brown bears have the most varied diet of any bear. If it fits in the mouth, it's going south. Contrary to popular perception, but most of the time brown bears are not active predators. Brown bears are master foragers, using those colossal shoulder muscles and specialized snouts to dig for buried treasure like roots, bulbs, and small animals living underground. In Yellowstone, a full half of their diet is just moth larvae. Of all things for a brown bear to live off of. Moth larvae. Don't get it twisted though. Brown bears can absolutely wear the predator pants. It's pretty common knowledge how good brown bears are at hunting salmon. They're so good at it that the bears who specialize in salmon murder can grow to be some of the largest bears on Earth. This is the Kodiak bear, a subspecies of brown bear that lives exclusively in the Kodiak archipelago of southern Alaska, and is the polar bear's only rival for the title of largest bear on Earth. The largest wild Kodiak bear ever recorded got so fat on salmon he weighed 1,656 pounds. But the largest captive Kodiak shatters the chonk scale, weighing in at 2,400 pounds. 6 4/5 f***ing pandas. But just because you're not a fish does not mean you're safe. Elk, moose, caribou, muskoxen, wild boars. These are just a handful of the large animals that brown bears regularly prey on. And unlike cats or canines, the bear method of murder is to just start eating. This is a, legally acquired for educational purposes, brown bear claw. Now the first thing that most people notice about it is that it's absolutely f***ing massive. Longer than a grown man's finger. If an animal this size grabs you, it doesn't matter if you're alive or dead. If fat bastard here decides that you're going in the Bella, you're going in the Bella. No, the reason why most brown bears choose not to be active predators isn't because they can't. It's because they don't have to. Brown bears know damn well how big and terrifying they are. Brown bears will follow other predators like wolves until they get a kill, and then just waltz right up to the carcass before saying, Yeah, that's mine now. The f*** are you gonna do about it? I'm a bear. It's this behavior that really earns the brown bear its spot on the list, because brown bears pull this stunt with tigers. While tigers do still regularly prey on female and subadult brown bears, adult male brown bears are the only bears that can turn the table and steal kills from tigers. Sometimes even turning the tiger itself into a meal if it doesn't back down. The 3 other Asian bear species evolved tiger trauma, but the brown bear evolved a worthy opponent. And every battle that involves a brown bear is legendary. Brown bears go at the tippy top of bear ascendant. This animal can be summed up by the phrase minimum effort, maximum results. And I'll be damned if that's not everything a bear should be. And thus concludes the definitive bear tier list. Did you agree with my ranking? Feel free to let me know down in the comments. It's important to note that despite appearances, bears are just animals trying to live their lives. And unfortunately, the IUCN lists 6 of the 8 bear species as either vulnerable or endangered, almost entirely thanks to human activity. I'm going to be dropping a link to Animals Asia down in the description. It's an organization that's dedicated itself to rescuing and rehabilitating bears exploited by both the bile farming and illegal wildlife trade, as well as advocating for animal welfare across Asia as a whole. I'll also leave some links to some more general conservation orgs if you want to help bears worldwide, because the survival of the bear lineage is a cause worth fighting for. And on that note, I think that's a good place to wrap up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what topic you want me to cover next. And if you feel like helping me make more videos like this one, we got a Patreon with exclusive benefits like early access to videos, and I'll even mail you a sticker. Welcome to the Endangered Species Fight Club, boyo. This has been Happybara, and until next time, take a page from the Book of Bear Wisdom. Stay grizzly.